The galaxy had been at war for years. Battles raged between factions, planets were torn apart, and the future of the universe seemed uncertain. But now, the war was over. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy had been defeated, and peace was finally within reach. For the first time in many years, people from all over the universe could breathe easy again. At the center of it all was Adam, a human soldier known across the galaxy for his bravery, skill, and strength. He had fought in the most dangerous battles, led his troops to victory in impossible situations, and earned respect from species far and wide. His name was on the lips of everyone, and stories of his bravery spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. When the war ended, Adam was called to the Great Council of Leaders. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy gathered to celebrate their victory and reward those who had given their lives in the struggle. Soldiers, leaders, and heroes were given medals, land, titles, and riches. The grandest reward, however, was a prize, a gift that was more than gold or property. It was something rarer, a person chosen from the galaxy's many princesses, queens, and influential figures. As a token of victory, Adam stood in front of the council, facing a large room full of alien faces. He had been a soldier for years, and now, as the hero of the war, he was granted the right to choose whatever reward he desired. The room buzzed with anticipation. Everyone knew Adam would choose something magnificent, a powerful weapon, a rich planet, or a mighty ally to solidify humanity's place in the galaxy. His decision would set the course for the future. But when Adam stepped forward and made his choice, there was a stunned silence. "I choose Princess Lyra of the Rilo people," Adam said. The entire room fell quiet. Eyes turned to the figure standing. At the side of the room, there standing like a fragile flower, was Princess Lyra. She was one of the few remaining members of the Rilo royal family, people known for their beauty, but not their strength. The Rilo were delicate, their civilization ancient and fragile, and their princess was no different. Lyra had always been described as graceful, but her slender form and pale complexion made her seem frail, almost fragile, as though a gust of wind could blow her away. The murmur that swept through the room was not one of awe or admiration. It was disbelief. "Her," someone whispered. "She's the frailest among us," another voice chimed in. Adam felt the eyes of the entire room. On him, his decision was unexpected, to say the least. The warriors who had fought by his side, the ones who knew him best, were puzzled. Why would he choose a princess who could barely stand up to a stiff breeze, let alone lead a battle? She was a figure of elegance, not power. But Adam's face was calm. He had made his choice, and he would stand by it. He had seen something in Lyra that others hadn't. Her people, though delicate, were incredibly wise. They had a long history of diplomacy, peace-building, and understanding the universe in ways others did not. It was those qualities, those hidden strengths, that Adam admired. As the decision was finalized, Adam led Princess Lyra away from the council. She walked beside him, her small frame barely noticeable compared to the towering soldiers around her. Lyra said nothing as they exited the room, her face unreadable. She had been chosen, and yet she seemed unsure of why. "Are you okay with this?" Adam asked softly as they entered the quiet hallways of the ship. Lyra turned her large, intelligent eyes toward him. "I am honored, I suppose. But I cannot imagine what it is that you see in me. I am not strong, not like you." Adam looked at her, his eyes softening. "Strength comes in many forms, princess. You have your own, even if it's not something people see right away." They continued walking in silence, the weight of the decision settling between them. Adam could feel the tension around him, the confusion, and the judgment from those who had seen his choice as a weakness. But he stood firm. There was something about Lyra, something deeper than her delicate appearance, that drew him to her. The next few days, Adam found himself speaking with Lyra more often. They had meals together, walked the halls of the ship, and talked about their respective cultures. She told him about the Rilo people, how they had once been a mighty empire. But their decline had come slowly, like the slow fading of a once bright star. The Rilo were known for their beauty, yes, but their real strength had always been in their wisdom. For centuries, they had acted as diplomats, bringing peace between warring factions. They were subtle, not forceful. Their power came from understanding, not fighting. "I have never fought in a battle," Lyra said one day. "My people have always been the peacemakers. We are not soldiers. We do not fight with weapons. We fight with words." Adam nodded slowly. "And that's what you think I need? Words?" Lyra smiled faintly. "No, but I think you need understanding. And that, perhaps, is something I can offer." At first, Adam had no idea what she meant by that. But as the days passed and he observed the way Lyra interacted with others, the way she listened, the way she calmed heated discussions, the way she spoke with the wisdom of someone far older than she looked, he began to realize that she was right. While Adam had been fighting, while humanity had been at war, Lyra's people had been learning, growing, and thinking. She didn't need to be a warrior. She needed to be a voice, a guide, someone who could help rebuild the galaxy. And Adam had chosen her not because she was the frailest, but because she was one of the most powerful allies he could have in a galaxy that now needed more than just soldiers. In the quiet moments when no one was watching, Adam began to understand the true reason behind his decision. He hadn't chosen Lyra as a reward because she was weak. He had chosen her because her strength, unlike anyone else's, came from her mind and her heart. And in a universe that had been torn apart by war, that was the kind of strength they needed most. But the galaxy, for now, still saw her as a prize, a reward for a hero's victory. Adam knew, though, that in time they would all come to see what he had seen, that Princess Lyra was no mere ornament. She was a force in her own right. When together, they would shape the future of the galaxy. Adam stood in the hallway, watching the stars streak by as the ship sped through deep space. It had been a few days since the decision was made, and he could still feel the eyes of the crew on him. They were puzzled, even angry at his choice. Princess Lyra, the frailest of them all, had been chosen as his reward. No one understood why. They thought he had lost his mind. He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. He had made his choice, and he knew deep down that it was the right one. He wasn't interested in medals or power. What he needed was something far more valuable, wisdom, and that was something Lyra had in abundance. "Is everything all right, Commander?" A voice suddenly broke his thoughts. Adam turned to see Lieutenant Jenna, a tall, tough woman who had fought alongside him in every battle. Her expression was one of concern, but her eyes held judgment. She knew him better than anyone, yet even she couldn't understand his decision. "I'm fine," Adam replied, offering a half-smile. "Just thinking." Jenna didn't seem convinced, but she didn't press him further. "The princess is waiting in the conference room. Are you going to join her?" Adam nodded. "I'll be there in a minute." As Jenna walked away, Adam took one last look at the stars outside. He could hear the whispers from the crew behind him, but he refused to listen. They didn't understand, and that was fine. They didn't need to. Taking a deep breath, he walked down the long hallway toward the conference room. As he entered, he saw Princess Lyra sitting at the far end of the table. She was alone, her hands folded neatly on the table, and her gaze fixed on a star map projected in the center of the room. The soft glow of the lights cast a calm, serene look over her delicate features. Adam took a seat across from her, unsure of what to say. The silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. Finally, Lyra spoke, her voice soft but steady. "You don't have to explain yourself to me, you know." Adam blinked in surprise. "What do you mean?" Lyra met his gaze. "I know that your choice has upset many of the crew members. I can feel the tension in the air. But you don't have to justify it to me. I'm not some delicate flower to be shielded from the truth." Adam smiled a little at her words.
"Oh."
"You're not?" "No." She gave him a small nod, acknowledging his response. "Then why have you chosen me, Adam? There are many more capable leaders, warriors, and strategists among us. You could have picked anyone." "Why me?" Adam leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table. "Because, Lyra, you are not what you seem. I can see it in your eyes. You are not just a fragile princess. There is more to you than anyone here realizes. Lyra's expression softened. He didn't say anything at first, as if considering his words carefully. I am not a warrior, she said quietly. I cannot fight like you can. I cannot command armies or lead battles, but good am I to you. Adam shook his head. You don't need to be a warrior to make a difference. But you have your wisdom, your understanding of the galaxy. Those are things that can change the future. Lyra looked at him, her gaze searching, as if she were trying to understand him. But I am weak. Adam's heart tightened at the words. It was clear that Lyra had been told this all her life. She had been made to believe that because she wasn't physically strong, she was weak. But that couldn't be further from the truth. No, you're not weak, Adam said firmly. You are strong in a way that most people don't understand. The kind of strength that matters isn't the kind that comes from muscles or weapons. It's the strength that comes from within. Looked at him, her eyes flickering with something like hope, but also doubt. And you really believe that? I do, Adam said without hesitation. I've seen it in the way you think, the way you carry yourself, the way you listen. You have a quiet strength. That's why I chose you. I believe you can help guide us. Help us rebuild what's been broken. For a moment, Lyra didn't respond. She just looked at him as if processing his words. Then slowly, a small smile tugged at the corner of her lips. You're an odd human. Adam, she said softly, almost to herself, but I think you might be right. Adam's heart lifted a little. I'm glad you think so. See, the galaxy needs more than just soldiers. It needs someone who understands how to bring people together. Lyra's eyes sparkled with a mix of curiosity and something deeper. Oh, and you think that's me? I know it's you, Adam, said, his voice steady. They sat in silence for a while, the weight of their conversation hanging between them. Outside, the stars continued to streak by, but in that small, quiet room, something had shifted. Later that evening, after their conversation, Adam and Lyra walked together on the ship's observation deck. The ship was vast, and the view of the galaxy stretched out before them, full of stars, planets, and the unknown. Adam had never stopped to appreciate the beauty of space before, always focused on the next mission, the next battle. But tonight was different. With Lyra by his side, everything felt calmer, more purposeful. The galaxy is a strange place, Lyra said quietly, gazing out at the stars. So much conflict, so much pain, and yet there is also so much beauty. Adam glanced at her, noticing the way her eyes softened as she looked at the stars. You really do see things differently, he said. It's not just about the battles, is it? Lyra shook her head. No, it never was. I think we've all been fighting for the wrong reasons. The galaxy needs healing, not more bloodshed. Adam nodded slowly, and that's where you come in. She turned to face him. Perhaps, but I'm not sure where to start. Adam smiled. We'll figure it out. Together. As the ship sailed through the vastness of space, Adam and Lyra stood side by side, both of them knowing that their journey had only just begun. The galaxy had been torn apart by war, but maybe, just maybe, the two of them could help stitch it back together. But first, they had to prove to the galaxy and to themselves that the real strength lay not in the weapons they carried, but in the minds and hearts of those who dared to see the world differently. Key points. Adam and Lyra begin to bond and learn more about each other. Adam explains his reasoning for choosing Lyra, revealing that her wisdom and understanding are what the galaxy needs. Lyra starts to believe in her own strength, seeing the value in her own unique abilities. Together, they begin to understand their shared purpose in the galaxy, healing and uniting a fractured universe. The days aboard the ship seemed to pass in a quiet rhythm. Adam and Lyra had begun to spend more time together. There were the long conversations about the galaxy, about their people, about their dreams for the future. But as they continued on their journey, Adam began to realize something. Lyra wasn't just a princess with wisdom and calmness. She was something more. Something deep inside her, something hidden, was beginning to show itself. It was on the third day, when the ship suddenly shook, and a loud alarm blared across the ship, that Adam realized just how strong Lyra truly was. Sir, we've detected an enemy ship nearby, Lieutenant Jenna said urgently as she rushed into the room where Adam and Lyra were talking. They're not responding to our hails. It's possible they're hostile. Adam stood up quickly, his mind racing. A battle. They had hoped for a smooth journey, but it seemed that trouble always found them. What kind of ship is it? Adam asked, already reaching for his communicator. It's an old warship, Jenna said, pointing to the screen. Outdated, but still dangerous. Adam felt a chill run down his spine. The galaxy was full of unknown threats, some more dangerous than others. A warship, no matter how old, could still cause serious damage. Prepare the crew for action. We'll need to be ready for anything. Jenna nodded and quickly left. To carry out his orders? Adam turned to Lyra, who had stood up from her seat. There was no fear in her eyes, just calm focus. But then she did something unexpected. Adam, Lyra said, her voice soft but steady. I can help. Let me. Adam frowned. Help. You don't need to be involved in this. We'll handle it. I am not helpless, Adam, she said, her voice growing more confident. You know that. May not fight with weapons, but I have another kind of strength. Adam looked at her, unsure of what she meant. Lyra had always been calm and wise, but he hadn't seen her in action yet. The ship's crew had been taught to fight, to defend, but Lyra wasn't one of them. She was ... different. Are you sure? Adam asked, feeling a sense of protectiveness rise in him. He didn't want her to be in danger, especially not when they didn't know what they were facing. Lyra nodded. I am sure. Let me show you. With that, she moved toward the ship's control room where Adam and the crew had gathered. She walked with purpose, her steps steady and confident. Adam hesitated for a moment, but then followed her, wondering what exactly she meant. When they entered the control room, crew members immediately turned their attention to Lyra, surprised but respectful. She had always been treated like royalty, but now she was asking to be taken seriously in a way they hadn't expected. Activate the defense systems, Lyra said, her voice calm but commanding, and prepare the shields for a full impact. Adam watched in amazement as Lyra approached the main control panel. She didn't fumble or hesitate. Her fingers moved with precision over the buttons, activating systems he had never even noticed. Before, her knowledge of the ship's technology was vast, far beyond what Adam had thought. Done, she said, looking at Adam. Now we wait. Adam stood there, stunned. How did you... I told you, she said, her eyes meeting. His with a calmness that was almost unnerving. I may not fight with physical strength, but I have other skills. I can read situations, understand systems. I know how to act when there's no time to hesitate. They stood there together, watching as the enemy's ship drew closer. The crew was on high alert, but there was an unspoken trust growing between them and Lyra. Adam had been right to see her strength. It wasn't in her muscles or her ability to fight with weapons. It was in her mind. Her quick thinking and her ability to understand complex situations. The alarms sounded again, and the enemy ship fired a warning shot. The ship shook violently, but thanks to Lyra's quick actions, the shields absorbed the blow. That was close, Adam said, relieved. Nice work, Lyra. She nodded, but there was no smugness in her expression. It's not over yet. I'll try again. Sure enough, within minutes, the enemy ship launched a second attack. But this time, Lyra was ready. She used the ship's advanced targeting system, setting it to lock onto the enemy ship's weak points. With a few commands she had activated, the ship's weapons firing back with precision. This is incredible, Adam said, his voice full of awe. How did you know how to do all this? Lyra gave him a small smile. I studied. I had to. Growing up, I was taught how to understand the universe. Not just the politics, but the systems that keep it running. Every planet, every species. Every technology has its own way of working. I've always understood how things fit together. Adam stood there, taking it all in. He had known that Lyra wasn't just a fragile princess, but seeing her in action was something else entirely. She wasn't just knowledgeable, she was capable. She had taken control of the situation without hesitation, and her actions had saved the ship from serious harm. The enemy ship, now damaged, retreated. Adam felt a sense of relief wash over him. They had survived the attack thanks to Lyra. Good work, everyone, Adam said to the crew. And especially to Princess Lyra. You saved us today. Lyra's smile was small but genuine. It was nothing. I'm glad I could help. After the battle, Adam and Lyra stood together on the observation deck, watching the stars pass by. The crew was celebrating in the background, but Adam couldn't help but focus on Lyra. She had proven herself in a way that no one had expected, and Adam was beginning to see her in an entirely new light. You're incredible, he said quietly. I didn't realize... Lyra turned to him, her gaze soft but steady. I know you didn't, but now you see. Strength doesn't always look the way people think it does. Adam nodded, his mind racing with thoughts. I've always thought that strength meant physical power, but I was wrong. Lyra smiled, her eyes glinting with wisdom. Everyone has their own kind of strength. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who don't have to fight at all. Adam thought about her words as they stood together, watching the stars. The galaxy was full of different kinds of people, all with their own abilities. But he was beginning to realize that the most important strength wasn't in the ability to fight. It was in the ability to understand, to guide, and to make a difference without resorting to violence. And for the first time in a long while, Adam felt that maybe, just maybe, they were on the right path. Together, they would bring peace to a galaxy that had known only war for far too long. Key points. Lyra proves her strength again. It's time in a battle by using her intelligence and quick thinking to save the crew. Adam begins to fully realize the extent of Lyra's abilities and the power of her mind. The crew starts to respect Lyra for her unique form of strength. The story continues to explore the theme that true strength is not just physical but mental and emotional. The days after the battle felt like a shift in the air. The crew, once skeptical of Princess Lyra, now looked at her with a new respect. Adam had been right all along. Her strength wasn't just in her delicate appearance, but in her ability to think, to act, and to lead. Even those who had doubted her now understood why Adam had chosen her. She was more than a reward. She was a vital ally. But just as the crew began to settle into a new sense of unity, something darker began to stir in the shadows. Not everyone on the ship was content with the changes that had come with Lyra's presence. While the majority of the crew had come to see her as an asset, there were a few who still resented her. And it was in those few that trouble began to brew. Adam could feel the tension, though he didn't know where it was coming from at first. There were whispered conversations behind closed doors, side glances when Lyra wasn't looking, and an unsettling sense of discontent among the soldiers who had once fought by his side. It wasn't until one evening that he realized just how serious the situation had become. Commander, Lieutenant Jenna said one evening as Adam entered the bridge, we need to talk. Adam noticed the concern in her voice. Jenna had been his trusted officer for years, and her usually calm demeanor was now filled with anxiety. He nodded and followed her into a quiet corner of the room. What's going on, Jenna? Adam asked, his voice steady but filled with concern. She hesitated before speaking. There are some of the crew who don't trust Princess Lyra. They think she's a liability, a distraction. Some believe that her presence on this ship will put us all at risk. Adam's heart sank. Who? It's not just one person, Jenna explained. There are several soldiers who fought alongside you, people who feel like she doesn't belong here. You see her as a symbol of weakness, a princess who doesn't deserve the reward she's been given. Adam clenched his fists, anger rising. Within him, he had known there would be challenges, but this was different. What do they want to do? They want to remove her from the ship, Jenna said quietly, as if the words were hard to say. They believe that without her, we'll be stronger, more focused. Some even say that you've been blinded by her. Adam took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. He had faced many challenges during the war, but this was different. He had never expected that his own crew would turn against him over a decision he had made in good faith. I can't allow that, Adam said firmly. We can't go back to the way things were. Lyra is a part of this crew now. She's earned her place. Jenna looked at him, her eyes filled with worry. I know, Commander. But if you don't do something, I fear things will escalate. Going to have to choose Adam, her, or them. The weight of her words hit him like a ton of bricks. His loyalty to his crew had always been strong, but his trust in Lyra had grown even more. He knew that he couldn't abandon her now, not when she had proven time and time again that her strength was undeniable. Don't worry, Adam said, his voice filled with resolve. I'll handle it. Later that night, Adam gathered the crew in the ship's main hall. There was a tension in the air that made it feel as if the walls were closing in. The murmurs of discontent were growing louder, and Adam knew that he couldn't allow this to fester any longer. As he stood before them, he could feel the eyes of every soldier on him. Some were calm, others were restless, but all were waiting for him to speak. I've called you all here for a reason, Adam began, his voice strong. There are some of you who don't trust Princess Lyra, and I understand your concerns. I know that some of you believe she is a liability, but I'm telling you now, those fears are unfounded. He paused, letting his words sink in. Lyra has proven herself more than capable. She saved this ship, she saved all of us. Her mind, her wisdom, her calm under pressure, it's the kind of strength that cannot be ignored. Adam's gaze swept across the room, meeting the eyes of those who had questioned Lyra's place among them. But if anyone here feels differently, if anyone truly believes that she doesn't belong on this ship, then I suggest you leave now. This is not a democracy. If you question my decisions, you question the mission we're all on. There was a long silence, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's engines. Adam could feel the weight of their stares, but he stood firm. He had never been afraid to make difficult decisions, and this was one of the hardest. After what felt like an eternity, one of the soldiers, a grizzled veteran named Sam, stepped forward. He was one of the loudest voices against Lyra's presence. His scowl made it clear that he wasn't going to back down easily. You can't seriously expect us to believe that she's fit to lead, Sam said, his voice cold and sharp. She's a princess, not a soldier. She's never seen a real battle. What does she know about war? Adam's jaw clenched. What she knows is what none of you do, how to bring people together. She's not here to lead us in battle. She's here to show us another way to build peace, to heal what we've broken. Sam shook his head. Peace. Peace doesn't win wars, Commander. Strength does. Adam stepped forward, his gaze never leaving Sam's strength. Isn't just about firepower. It's about knowing when to fight and when to stop. It's about understanding that sometimes the strongest weapon you have is the ability to listen, to understand. And that's what Lyra offers. She's not here to fight with us. She's here to help us win the war within ourselves. The room was silent again, the weight of Adam's words hanging in the air. Sam's expression softened slightly, but he didn't say anything else. Adam could tell that the battle was far from over, but he had made his point. I don't want anyone on this ship who doesn't believe in what we're trying to do. Adam continued. If you can't respect Lyra, then you can leave. But if you stay, then we fight together. As a team, there was a long pause, and for a moment, Adam wasn't sure what would happen next. Then, slowly, one by one, the soldiers nodded. Sam was the first to step back, lowering his gaze. But he wasn't ready to leave either. The rest of the crew followed suit. Adam exhaled, relieved. He turned to Lyra, who had been standing silently at the back of the room, her expression calm but uncertain. As the crew began to disperse, Adam walked toward her. You okay? He asked quietly. Lyra nodded. I'm fine, but thank you for standing by me. Adam smiled. Of course, we're in this together. As they stood there, the tension and the air began to ease. The crew had made their choice, and for now at least, they would continue on their mission, united. But Adam knew that this was only the beginning. The real challenge would come when they faced the galaxy's true threats, and in that fight, they would need each other more than ever. Key points. Adam faces betrayal from some members of his crew who question Lyra's place on the ship. He stands firm in his decision, choosing to back Lyra and proving that his loyalty lies with her. The crew is forced to choose whether to accept Lyra's presence or leave the ship. Ida makes it clear that their mission depends on unity, and in the end, the crew agrees to stand by him. The ship hummed softly as it sailed through the stars. The crew had settled into a new rhythm after the confrontation with those who had questioned Lyra's place on the ship. Adam knew that things had changed, but the real test was yet to come. The galaxy was vast, and the war may have ended, but peace was still an illusion in many parts of the universe. Adam couldn't help but feel the weight of the mission that lay ahead, rebuilding the galaxy. One fragile step at a time, Lyra stood beside him on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The same stars that had witnessed the bloodshed and chaos of the war. But now, in the silence of space, there was a hope that together they could change the future. Adam glanced over at her. She seemed lost in thought, her eyes reflecting the lights of distant stars. "It's a strange feeling, isn't it?" Adam said quietly, breaking the silence. To finally be at peace after all these years. Lyra turned to him, her gaze thoughtful. "Yes, it is. But peace is fragile, Adam. It's like the stars, beautiful but distant, hard to touch." Adam smiled, feeling a sense of kinship with her. "I don't think we're meant to touch the stars. We just need to reach for them." Lyra's eyes softened. "Perhaps, but we can only reach them if we have the right tools. Can't do it alone." Adam nodded. "You're right. That's why I'm glad you're here. Together, we can make a difference." Days passed, and Adam and Lyra's bond grew stronger. The crew had accepted Lyra's place on the ship, and the whispers of distrust slowly faded. But as they journeyed deeper into space, something else began to stir, a new kind of threat, one that neither Adam nor Lyra had anticipated. The ships. Sensors detected a strange disturbance in the sector ahead. It was subtle at first, a flicker in the readings, but it quickly became impossible to ignore. The disturbance was growing stronger, like a ripple in the fabric of space itself. Adam stood in the control room, watching the data flicker across the screen. His brow furrowed. "Commander, you need to see this," Jenna said, calling him over. He stepped up to the screen where the readings were now flashing rapidly. "What's happening?" Adam asked, trying to make sense of the data. "It looks like some kind of energy pulse," Jenna said, her voice tense. "But it's not like anything we've ever encountered. It's too powerful." Coming from a planet ahead, Lyra stepped forward, her expression calm despite the rising tension. "It's not just a natural occurrence, is it?" Adam shook his head. "No, this feels deliberate." "What could it be?" Lyra asked. "I don't know," Adam admitted, "but I intend to find out." As they approached the planet, the energy pulse grew stronger, and the ship's systems began to experience interference. Lights flickered, the engines hummed erratically, and the whole of the ship creaked under the strain. It was as if the very fabric of space was being bent and twisted. The crew was on edge, unsure of what to expect. Adam, however, felt an odd sense of calm. He had faced countless battles in the past, but this was different. It wasn't a battle of weapons. It was something else entirely. "Prepare for landing," Adam ordered. "Lyra, stay with me. I don't know what we're walking into, but I need you." Lyra nodded. "I'll be there, Adam. Let's see what's waiting for us." The crew gathered in the landing bay, ready for whatever awaited them on the planet's surface. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, the strange energy pulse grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. Adam could feel it in his chest, like a rhythmic thrum, pulling them toward the planet. The land below was barren, vast stretches of cracked earth and towering, jagged rock formations. There was no sign of life, no movement at all. It was as if the planet was waiting. When the ship touched down, Adam and Lyra led the way out, with the crew following closely behind. The air was still heavy with the weight of something ancient and powerful. They moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath them, and a deep rumble shook the air. From the distance, a faint light began to glow, growing brighter with each passing second. It wasn't just any light, it was a beacon, pulsing with the same strange energy they had been tracking. "This is it," Adam said, his voice low but steady. "Let's find out what this is all about." They walked toward the light, their eyes adjusting to the brilliance. The beacon was surrounded by an intricate network of alien symbols, glowing softly in the dark. Lyra knelt down to examine them, her fingers brushing the surface. "These symbols," she said softly. "They're not from any species I know, but they are familiar. I've seen something like this before." Adam looked at her, confusion spreading across his face. "Where?" "The ancient texts of my people," Lyra explained, standing up. "They speak of an energy source and artifact of unimaginable power. It was said to be a gift from the stars, left behind by a long-forgotten race." Adam felt a chill run down his spine. "Are you saying this ... thing ... is a weapon?" Lyra nodded. "Possibly. But it could also be something more. Something that could change the course of the galaxy." As the crew continued to study the beacon, the energy pulse suddenly flared, sending a wave of light through the air. The symbols around them began to shift and change, forming a new pattern of message. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes scanning the symbols. "It's a message," she said. "But it's not in any language I know. It's encoded." Adam frowned. "Can you decode it?" Lyra hesitated, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's complicated, but ... I think I can. Shh, give me a moment." She closed her eyes, her fingers tracing the air in front of the symbols. Adam watched as the symbols seemed to respond to her touch, shifting and rearranging. Then slowly the message began to take shape. "It's a warning," Lyra said, her voice tense. "A warning about the power of this artifact. It says that whoever controls it will have the ability to reshape the galaxy, ... or destroy it." Adam's heart raced. Lyra shook her head. "No, it's not that simple. The message says that it is not to be used lightly. But if we can understand it, if we can control it, we could bring peace to the galaxy. True peace." Adam's mind raced as he processed her words. Could this artifact really be the key to ending the galaxy's endless wars? Or would it only bring more destruction? Lyra turned to him, her eyes filled with determination. "Adam, we've already seen the consequences of war. This artifact could help us rebuild. But we need to make sure we understand it first. We can't rush into this blindly." Adam took a deep breath, his gaze never leaving the glowing symbols. The future of the galaxy rested in their hands, and he knew that whatever choice they made would shape the future forever. "Then we'll learn," Adam said, his voice firm. "We'll learn, and we'll make the right choice. Together." Lyra smiled, the bond between them stronger than ever. Together. Key points. Adam and Lyra discover a powerful alien artifact on a distant planet, radiating strange energy. Lyra decodes a message revealing the artifact's potential to reshape the galaxy. The crew must decide whether to destroy or learn from the artifact, knowing that it could either bring peace or destruction. Adam and Lyra continue to work together, understanding that their partnership will define the future of the galaxy.